Hello, everyone. Welcome to CI 151, the social contexts of teaching and learning. I'm just seeing a real glare in my glasses. I'm sorry about that, but I don't want to get up and start this all over again. So let me just tell you a little bit about myself. I'm John Bushman. I'm the instructor for your class. I'm an adjunct instructor at Fresno State in the Department of Education, Curriculum and Instruction. And I'm a longtime educator. I'm actually retired out of Clovis Unified School District. I was an English teacher there for many, many years and also an administrator there at the middle school level. I worked in Fresno Unified as the language arts coordinator for a couple of years. I was in Visalia for a couple of years as an administrator, and also I was a teacher at Golden West High School and Valley Oak Middle School. But I started my teaching career in Corcoran many, many years ago at a little John Muir Middle School, and then I went to the high school. So I've taught all over the Valley. I also have taught in Japan and Australia. And so I've got a wide variety of curriculum expertise and a lot of experience with a lot of different types of students. So that's really my background. And the social contexts of teaching and learning really have to do with all of those things, all those outside forces that impact those choices we make. You know, we think that we're going to come into teaching and we're just going to make our decisions about what happens in our classroom and how our students are going to learn the material that we've got presented for them. But that's really the simplest and most direct interaction we have. But there's so many other things that come into play into determining who those students are, how they got into your classroom, what their needs are, what their community is like, what their parents and the community expects of them, what kind of materials we choose for them, what kind of curriculum we choose. And all those things are impacted by all kinds of different social movements and social currents. How much money is there for education? How do we train teachers? What's the purpose of education? Is it to train people to get a job, or is it to train people to be literate and able to function in a democratic society? What are the needs of kids in terms of their sexuality, for example, or their cultural background? We are a really diverse society, and you're seeing the impact of that politically right now. There is a lot of pushback on that. But at any rate, those are the kinds of things that we look at in this class, along with certain other things like the history of education as it developed in America and how we see it, that history coming to play today. So all those kinds of things are things that we'll be looking at. I will have sent you the syllabus by now. You need to read that by yourself. But a couple of things I want you to notice in this particular class. We're going to be doing a lot of reading and writing, not a lot of interacting with each other. I've just never found a really good way of having students interact, even commenting on each other's work. I end up just counting the number of comments, not looking at the quality. So I've decided that's not an avenue I want to go down. So mainly you're going to be interacting with me. I'll have a few Zoom meetings open to everyone occasionally so that we can talk and you can talk to each other. I'll open up a place where you guys can talk to each other and communicate together that I can also see. So never hesitate to email me a question. Sometimes people put comments in Google Classroom under the assignment, but I see things more readily if you email me directly. So don't hesitate to do that. What you're going to see is that I've divided the class into 2-week segments, and I will be giving you 3 or sometimes 4 assignments for you to complete during that 2-week segment. Now know that if we had a regular class, we'd be meeting for 3 hours, and then you'd be expected to do 3 to 6 hours actually of homework on top of that. I'm expecting that you'll probably do about 4 or 5 hours of work each week in place of that meeting time. So there are some demands here, and especially at the beginning of the quarter or the semester rather, you'll find it heavy going. But as we get going, it gets a little lighter and a little easier, less intense, I should say. Because everything's in a 2-week period and you have the ability to space out how and when you're going to do that work, I don't accept late work. It's got to be in on time. I need to keep up with the scoring and grading, and so I need to have things turned in every 2 weeks. So I'll be monitoring for that. Let's see, I think that's the main thing in the syllabus. I'd like you to notice in the syllabus too that there's a list of topics and the dates for the 2-week segments are there. I try to stick to that pretty closely. You will have a fieldwork assignment. I'll give that to you in about 4 weeks. It's going to require you to go out and do some interviewing in a school district, hopefully where you're working or interning or doing something. At any rate, that's the way this is designed. So we'll talk more about that later. I also want you to pay close attention to the way grades will be determined. Your notes will be 20%. A lot of times I ask you to read and take notes, and I just evaluate your notes to assure me that you've read the content, and that lets me know that you've got the content. There are short question responses, that's 30%. There will be 3 or 4 reflection papers, and there's a rubric for those, and that's 25% of the grade. And then there will be this fieldwork assignment, and that's another 25%. Your first assignment is going to be to make me a little introductory video and post it right here. This is your first assignment. Watch this video and then post your own video introducing yourself to me. There are several things I need to know. Of course, your name. I'd love to know where you went to high school and where you went to do your undergraduate work. Many of you will have gone to Fresno State. What's your subject area? And why do you want to teach? I also I kind of want to know something about the town you grew up in or the place you grew up in. And yeah, I think that is plenty. So your name, where you went to high school, where you did your undergraduate work in, including your subject area, why you want to teach, what your community growing up was like. Those are the main things that I really need to know. Also, one last thing. Are you interning? Are you a STIP? Are you doing your first semester student teaching? Or are you just doing coursework in preparation to start student teaching next semester? Need to know all those things. At any rate, I'll look forward to meeting you on your videos. See you then.